Before we even started the design process, I showed Sue some diagrams. One was built into the hillside, but it was contrasted with the second option, which was the more of the treehouse version. Sue knew exactly what she wanted.
The way I survived the first weeks after my husband's death was to be up in the trees of Great Falls. So when I was ready to move out of the house where Mike died, what I immediately looked for was a lot that was full of trees, right? So I could get that feeling of being in nature, which was so critical to my healing in those early days.
The first thing we did is to look carefully at the site, at the various experiences that were possible. And that meant thinking three-dimensionally, not just about the ground plane, not just about where you're walking on the ground, but what's up in the air.
Welcome to my treehouse. This place is my haven, my oasis, and my work of art. The experience walking into my home starts whenever you walk across a floating walkway.
That bridge-like entry is the first kind of moment of leaving the land, and you're also seeing the nature, sort of below that, almost like you're on a boardwalk in a nature preserve.
This is my great room. One of the beauties of this room is you can see front to back and side to side the trees everywhere. And also have this beautiful fireplace and my poet's corner all combined into this room. What I love about this corner is that you can take a look at the entire view shed. So that's a term that Robert, my architect, taught me, where you're taking a look at the open space ahead of you.
She was very, very clear about what she wanted, but she never said what style. And to me, that is actually the essence of modern. It's not about style. It's about addressing the actual needs that you have. And that's a form of freedom, and that's a form of liberation.
This is my screen porch. And this is a room that I spend so much time in all weekend long. These screens are next level. They're floor to ceiling with only a bifurcation in the middle for safety purposes. They let you feel like you're outside. So this room is very much of a draw for when people come over, they want to spend time on the screen porch.
I think on the screen porch, more so than anywhere else in the house, you feel in the trees. You don't have that layer of glass. It feels a little bit dangerous because you're up so high, but you're safe. That's by design.
All right, here we are in the kitchen. So the most beautiful feature of this kitchen are these windows. These are spectacular, the way that they wrap around and you can get a view of all the different kinds of trees outside. And then on a personal note, one of the parts of the kitchen that I love the most is the sink. So Mike and I, my husband, at a prior house had a beautiful sink, this Callista sink. And so whenever we were designing this kitchen, I wanted to incorporate a little piece of the past into the present and the future.
Because we wanted to take advantage of that view, there are no upper cabinets in this kitchen. So we had to think about how to make it functional. And we solved that by creating a wall of vertical cabinets that have the refrigerator and the pantries. Basically all the storage in one element that's very convenient to the island.
My true favorite room in my house is my office. One of the biggest ways that I healed after the loss of my husband was reading. Right out of the gate, I read the classic A Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion and many others that told stories about grief and loss. So sometimes when I'm on a work call, I'll just climb up on my couch and pull out a book that I think is appropriate for the person I'm talking to on a call. I'll remember something, an insight that I gained from one, and I'll want to pull it out for someone. Oh my gosh, Dave Grohl, the most hilarious, awesome book, but full of life lessons, because people think that nobody talks about loss, but every single memoir I have here has an example of how someone has gotten through loss. For Dave Grohl, that was his Nirvana experience. Here on the master bedroom level, you get to see the canopy. So that's why I refer to this floor as my bird's nest. I'm a bird tucked in the very top of the trees. Of course, we get to have the feeling of a floor-to-ceiling window consuming the entire room. But when you look at it in reality, there is a space on either side. So that space is designed to make the windows more economical, so that the window company can make them more in their normal thresholds rather than it being completely custom.
There's a benefit, a cost benefit that we always look at. So that extra inch, is it really worth, $5,000? Probably not.
And then also you'll notice there are no shades on these windows. I'm so high up, no one's seeing into them. And in addition, it just makes me feel like I'm more in nature. I'm an early riser, so I get up with the sun. Sometimes from my bed, I watch the sunrise through the windows and watch all the colors of the sky, and that's the way I like it. When it came to designing this space here in the master bath, I had lived 18 years of marriage with double sinks. So I kept telling Robert and Ben, well, no, we'll put 2 sinks in here. And they kept looking at me very nicely and very kindly and didn't kind of want to point out that I was just a single person and what would I need a double sink for. So we had a come to Jesus moment where we were staring at the plans at their New York office, and I finally had to really absorb the fact that I was a single person and a single sink would be great. Is this style of architecture what Mike Deagle would have wanted? No, but that's kind of the beauty of it. I get to express myself in it while knowing that whatever it would take for us to heal and move forward, whatever it would take to support our lives, he would support. One really precious, precious thing to me is this letter that my husband wrote me 10 years almost before he died. Sweetheart, I was just thinking about how much I missed you. Sometimes when I fly, I think about what would happen if I passed away and you, Connor, and Kendall were without me. I wonder, will they be okay? Have I done all I can so that they will be? If indeed something should happen, know that all I would want for you all is to move forward with your lives, living them fully and happily. Your devoted husband, Michael. Look.